The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Hello, I'm Brian Akers, and welcome to Winning in Retirement. Today, I have certified financial planner practitioner Jeff Akers with me. Jeff's been working along with me for over 21 years. How you doing today, Jeff?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing very good, sir. All right, so this morning, we've been thinking about a lot of things that's been going on. We've had a lot of people come to visit us, come to see us, and so we put together a show that's going to be about how to change financial advisors, because we feel that people need to know the process and the reasons why people are considering this. Has this been happening to you many times recently, Jeff?
It does happen all the time. People come in and they think, well, I need to do something, but I just don't know what to do. And so we kind of help walk them through that process. They have built up in their mind, oh, it's going to be this big, hard thing. And most of the time it's not.
Right, because what happens is that Jeff and I have been doing this a very long time. We have worked with many people and helped them into and through their retirement years, helping them through the good days and the bad days. And what happens is that you need to think about where you are right now in your life, and do you have a financial advisor at all, or do you have a salesperson? Do you have a financial advisor that offers planning and advice where you are in your life, or someone that's trying to sell you something that might not fit? What's really going on? So what we did on today's show is this. We're going to put together this process of how can you do this? Why would you consider changing advisors? And how it can benefit you and your family for an entire generation. So this show, each and every piece is very important to hear, for you to sit back and listen to, because you need to understand why you should consider changing financial advisors. All right, Jeff, the basic process of a client coming in, it sort of begins just with a simple phone call. They call the office, they come in, and we have a talk. How do you begin that kind of talk?
So I'll just give an example. This happened with a client a little while ago. Their sister and brother-in-law were clients, and I'd had a review meeting with them. Well, they went home and they were talking to their family members about, well, here's what we talked about when we reviewed with our financial guy. And these folks are sitting there and they're saying, well, we never have a talk like that with our financial guy. We want that. We want to have that kind of talk. So they called, set up an appointment, came in. We started talking about what they wanted, their goals, their objectives. And they decided to work with me. So we just did the process of transferring then accounts over. And it was a very simple process in this case. Brokerage account on one end, brokerage account on our end. And so we call that an ACAT. It's basically an electronic transfer of stocks or mutual funds, things like that. And it was very simple. And then we could start implementing the plan that we had discussed.
Right. So what Jeff's talking about is when a client comes in, we have a free initial meeting. That free initial meeting is to find out about you and for you to find out about us, to see how we would fit in becoming your financial advisor. Yes, at Akers Financial Group, we have a team of financial advisors, a bunch of different sizes and shapes of financial advisors, but our goal is to help you where you are. And what we do is we sit down and talk about your situation, wherever that may be. So what I mean by that is this: financial planning works very well when it comes to being honest to each other back and forth and having a conversation. Now, the process through the first meeting is you get to know each other. You see if it's a good fit. What I mean by that is what we can provide versus what you need. Now, how do you evaluate that kind of thing, Jeff?
Well, as we talk through goals and objectives, and we just kind of make sure that I'm getting what the client is saying, what they want, what their goals are. And so I'll ask a lot of questions. My background's in marriage and family counseling, so I'll ask a bunch of questions, find out what it is that they want to have happen. I'll kind of reflect back to them. This is what I'm hearing. Is this what you want? And they'll tell me yes or no. And we'll just kind of work out what those goals are, what that objective is. Then we'll start talking about, well, here's how we can get there. Here are the recommendations that I have. And this might take a couple of meetings to get all this worked out. But that first part is just figuring out, like Brian said, what you have, where you are, what is your current situation. I can't tell you how many times people have come in for that first meeting and they've got a bunch of statements and they say, oh, well, I really don't know what I have. Here it is. And so sometimes that first meeting is just spent explaining, here is what you have. And then later on, we can talk about how we can use that to meet your goals and your objectives.
Yeah, what I usually do is I start out with a question, and that first question is why are you here? In other words, what is that pressing thing, that pressing question that you have that you need to sit down and talk to someone about? And usually where it starts is whatever at the moment is affecting their life. That could be their job change, or are they really ready to retire in the next couple of years? Or they're being overwhelmed by all the choices that are out there, or they're just not sure what's going on when it comes to their money. They might have a collection of a lifetime where they've saved money wherever they work, and they just really have never put it all together. Just recently had a referral come in, and that referral, she's referred to me by a couple that's been a client for like 15 years, and they're retired and everything's good. And she's thinking about retirement, trying to figure out Social Security, trying to figure out how to draw income, and she's done it all herself her entire life. And she's like, I just don't think I know what the right answer is. And I said, well, at Acres Financial Group, what we do is help people get ready to retire. Our concept of winning in retirement is knowing that you're okay, that things are good, that the numbers work out, that you're paying the right amount of tax, not too much. You have the investments allocated properly so that your portfolio can be there for you to last a lifetime. Now, some people, it's the transitions in life is the reason they want to come in. And so that's when they start talking to other friends about what's going on. It might be when they turn on a financial show is that something's going on. Maybe there's something there I can hear about. Now, when we do radio shows, we do topics, but not every week's going to have the topic that you want. And that's why we have a website at acresfinancialgroup.com. You go there, you can check out that site and check out all different topics under a radio tab. But also what happens in that initial meeting is we can talk about whatever topic you want. It's a private free meeting to go over your situation.
And when you mentioned the idea about transitions in life and the reasons people come, one of the transitions that happens sometimes is there's been a death in the family. And the person who was responsible, or at least who believes they're responsible, comes in and says, I don't know what to do. What do I do with this? And so we work through those issues for that situation. Sometimes we don't even know the person who passed away, and so we have to make a lot of phone calls and get things figured out. But we have experience working through that process. And I again, can't tell you how many times we've started through that process, made some phone calls, got some things organized, and the person's like, oh my gosh, I would have spent forever trying to get that done. Thank you, because we got through it in an hour or an hour and a half. We got a lot of different things done. So that's one of the transitions that come up that we help navigate through and make life a little bit simpler for you.
Yeah, I was thinking about questions of people who come in to talk, and one of them is about Social Security, is when to draw income. It's in their 60s. What is best to draw money? When is it best to use savings, use IRAs, to start Social Security, to get a part-time job? And all of that comes into laying out a good financial income plan.
Yes, and all of that goes into, we're talking today about changing financial advisors, that transition. But we have to find out, what do we need to do? Because sometimes that change doesn't involve selling something and buying something else. Sometimes it just involves changing who the broker or the representative on a given account is. The account itself doesn't even change. It's just that we become the representative on that. And so, there's, in a situation like that, there's usually a form to be signed, and it's very simple. Sometimes there are other things that need to happen. There might be a rollover that needs to happen. And when we talk about income, we're getting into taxes. And if you make a mistake with a rollover, sometimes you check a box that says, oh, just send me a check. Well, if you do that, there's going to be tax consequences to it, and we want to avoid that. So that's one of the things that we help people navigate through that process. And we'll get into that as we go on through the show.
Right. So the concept today is how to change financial advisors. The first thing is that you need to understand, do you have a financial advisor or not? So keep it real simple. You think about what you have. If you have someone that sold you a product and you haven't met them again, you don't have a financial advisor. If you have someone that meets with you at least once a year and talks about your investment, you have an investment advisor, a broker. If you have someone that meets with you and talks about your insurance policy, you have an insurance agent. If you have someone that sits down and goes through each and every financial topic, bringing it all together, reviews your income, your savings, your investment plan, your tax plan all together, Then you have a financial advisor. That financial advisor is someone that should know your whole picture. Almost like you take a photo of everything that's going on in your life and you look at it all at one time and you bring it all together and then see what's that next step. And so in financial planning, we love having all that information together so that we can then make a logical decision when it comes to what's going on in your life.
Right. And one of the first things that we ask when we get into one of those reviews is, how is your income? Well, if you think about income, that's not really your investment accounts. That's not really your insurance accounts. That's, income from all sources. Social Security, Brian mentioned earlier, is one of those income sources. It might be a pension. But we want to know what your income is, because that's a big part of your overall financial plan. And I was taught a long time ago by my cousin that that's one of the most important things, and you've always got to ask that question: is how's that income coming? And sometimes, if you've got an insurance agent and you might have an annuity that has a way to pay you income over time, and you tell the insurance agent, well, I need more money. Well, they might say, well, take it from over there, which is, like a brokerage account or something. And then you go to your investment advisor, and he looks at it and says, oh, take it from the annuity. They're just interested in keeping their stuff, and you can take care of your problem somewhere else. We cover all of it. And so we will give you the best advice available about where you should take your income and why. Sometimes the reason is taxes. Sometimes the reason is guarantees. Sometimes the reason is the market's up or down. But we look at all of that to give you the best advice available.
Yeah, I was thinking about this call we got this week. This client was a little nervous about pulling some money out to buy a second house from their stockbroker's account, and they never realized all the taxable gain that had happened throughout the year. And then so we got a copy of the statement, and we sort of had to try to help them as fast as possible. I want to tell that story in the second quarter, so I'm just going to tease that to the second quarter. But as we finish out the first quarter, we want you in retirement to have the biggest worry of your day be about where you want to drink your morning cup of coffee, where every day seems like a Saturday, free of stress. Your retirement income and investments are all taken care of by the team of advisors at Acres Financial Group. This is the future you want. It's not too late. We want to provide you this. Just give us a call, and for that free meeting, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and we'll give you a call back on Monday to schedule a phone meeting, virtual Zoom, or an in-person meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning now by calling 833-946-7384 or visit acresfinancialgroup.com. As I said in the beginning of the show, changing advisors may be easier than you think. We'll explain more in the second quarter.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to the second quarter of Winning in Retirement. I'm your host, Brian Akers, president and founder of Acres Financial Group. Here with me today is Jeff Akers, Vice President from Acres Financial Group, Certified Financial Planner Practitioner, and been working with clients for over 21 years.
Yes, I've been working with Brian for over 21 years. He's been at this for over 31 years now. I don't even know the exact number of years anymore.
34 when I started as an assistant, and then 32 being licensed and working with people. It's been an enjoyable career. It's something where I enjoy my job. I really love helping people, take them from where they are to where they need to be, and making them feel comfortable with making big, large financial decisions in their life so that they know things are taken care of. Today's show is something that Jeff and I put together. It's called How to Change Financial Advisors. This is something that's important to go through because of the confusion of why people don't change advisors, because of things they think. Also, about how to change advisors, on the process of it, so you understand what goes on there and understand what kind of questions to ask as you talk to advisors about if you would like to work with them. So today's show, we put together each segment, trying our best to take this information and give you some information so you can make a decision about how do I change advisors. Maybe I should call Acres Financial Group and find out some information about them to see if they're the kind of advisor that would fit you and your family. So today's show is How to Change Financial Advisors, and this segment is this. Now, in the first quarter, we talked about how changing advisors may be easier than you think. What's your thoughts on that concept, Jeff?
Well, a lot of times people have built up in their mind that, oh no, this is a big thing. It's going to be really hard. I'm going to have to do a lot of different stuff. And it just kind of gets you into that paralysis of analysis, some people call it, where you just get stuck. And so we'll break it down into little pieces for you. And the first piece, I believe, is picking a financial advisor that you want to work with. Don't worry about transferring anything or moving anything. Pick that advisor to work with. And we hope that's us. And so give us a call and we can start that process like we talked about in the first quarter about getting to know you, understanding what you want, what your needs are, and you understand how we work. Once you've chosen to work with us, then we walk you through step by step any type of transition or transfers, anything that needs to be taken care of. We walk you through that. So you can kind of put aside all those fears that you have about a big, difficult thing and let us take care of those parts.
Yeah, I guess when it comes to finance, the first thought I have is someone's got to come in and then they got to open up and talk about their finances. And some people have never done that before. So what's your first way of handling that?
Yeah, well, kind of interesting for me. I said before, my background's in marriage and family counseling. And you sit down and you talk to a couple in a counseling session and their lips are sealed. Nobody wants to talk. Nobody wants to say anything. But if we sit down and we talk about your finances and what's going on with that, if people will open up about their finances, they'll open up about everything. They'll tell you everything. So I guess the big thing is we want you to be comfortable. We want you to understand that we're here to help you. And so we want you to be willing to tell us what's going on. It's kind of like if you go to the doctor and you say, something hurts. And he's like, well, what part? And you're like, well, you figure it out. You're the doctor. You have to give him some ideas about what's going on. You have to help with that process. And it's the same kind of thing here. We have to know about your taxes. We have to know about your income. We have to know about your assets, all these financial things so that we can give the best possible advice.
Right. So sometimes planning scares people because they don't want to do the planning. Now, having an advisor, you're hiring someone to do the planning. You just got to provide the information, and then we need some type of direction to run with, and then we can come back with the answers that are in writing.
Right. And so we're going to write down what we're going to do, what we think is the right thing, and we're going to go from there. So if it's all right, I'll go back to one example that I gave about a couple that came in and they said, well, we want this kind of relationship, so we want to work with you. They had brokerage accounts. They owned stocks, bonds, mutual funds, that kind of thing. So we talked about, here's what I think you should do, how it should be invested and why. And we looked at capital gains and things like that for taxable accounts. And we talked about things like Roth conversions. And so we got into taxes in that regard as well. But the things that they had that could be managed by me were in brokerage accounts. So the process was we opened up a brokerage account to match each account they already had. So let's say the husband had an IRA. I opened an IRA for the husband. And once that account is open, we did a transfer form, and it's just one form. And we filled that out. They sign it. We send it in, and the transfer happens automatically then. So the only thing that the client had to do was sign the forms to open the account and sign the form for the transfer. And from there, it was just taken care of. I talked about an ACAT in the first section, and that's just an electronic transfer of stocks, bonds, mutual funds from one brokerage account to another. So it really only took about a week, and the transfer was done. So we just did that for each account to get it transferred over. It was really very, very simple in that case.
Yeah, I guess it sounds simple. But brokerage accounts, many people have multiple accounts. And so how does that work when it comes to transfer fees and just the amount of cost?
Okay, so the cost of transferring, sometimes, well, most all the time, a brokerage account will have an account closing fee. Now, we don't always know what that is, and we don't control that. But a brokerage firm, a Merrill Lynch or whatever, if you're closing an account there, they're going to charge some fee. And it might be $100, it might be $150. I don't know what that number is going to be, but they're going to charge that when the account transfers over. Right. And so that's usually the only kind of cost. Sometimes if you have an IRA, they'll charge that custodial fee. They charge an annual custodial fee on those accounts. They'll charge that before it transfers over, those kinds of things.
And when I think about people that change advisors, there is the people that have done planning where they've had a close advisor giving advice over time and someone that has bought products. The one that's had a close advisor over time, it's very hard to change because of the time invested. A very good advisor would be a hard person to change because the fact that you've got a relationship built up over time. And so when it comes down to a situation like that, have you ever had a client switch from a planning advisor to a planning advisor like yourself? And what were some of the reasons that they'd actually make a change like that?
One of the most common reasons is the existing advisor that they have the close relationship with is retiring or moving away.
Right.
And so they're being handed off to someone else that they don't know anyway. And they're like, well, I want somebody different than that. They might meet with that other person the first time and they're like, that's just not going to work. So then they'll come and see us. That's the most common reason that I've come across.
Right, because what you're saying there is that a lot of advisors, now there is a lot of financial advisors that have been in the career a long time and they're all nearing retirement, and there is a transition to the new generation of advisors. That those planners, a lot of them were solo practitioners, and so they're looking at selling their practice or looking at giving it to someone, but usually the transition isn't where you get to pick who you get to work with to see if it's a good mix or not, and that is a time when people do come and talk. Now, the other reasons I've seen people change advisors is when the advice wasn't right. They felt uncomfortable about the advice. Typically, they'll listen to one of our shows, they'll go to one of our talks, go to our webinar, and they'll hear information they've never heard before. And they'd say, well, my advisor talks about things and he concentrates on this or that, but they do not do the holistic, everything financial planning. I feel like I really need that. And so that would be another reason people want to sit down with someone from Acres Financial Group is to truly get a full overview of everything that you're doing. Right.
Sometimes you become uncomfortable with the person you're working with. The example I gave earlier about the couple whose family were clients, and they're like, well, we don't have those conversations. And that's because they had an investment advisor. They didn't have a financial advisor. Yeah. And so we'll sit down and talk with you and go through, well, here's the advice they gave, and here's probably why they gave it, and here's why I disagree with it or agree with it. Depends on what's going on. But, we'll just talk that through.
I hear a lot of advertisements of financial advisors and investment people all around, and they talk about their rankings and stuff. Typically, the only way they rank people is based on investments, assets under management. It's basically, depending on how your firm's designed, the lead advisor at a big firm usually gets credit for everything at the firm. And so that gives them a big number. And then Barron's and other magazines rank them based on total assets.
When you hear those rankings, that's generally a salesman, not necessarily a financial advisor.
Yeah, financial advisor, I don't know how you can rank someone that gives good, solid advice. I mean, you have somebody raise their hand, oh, he's a 7 out of 10, or he's a 9 out of 10, or he's a 10 out of 10. It's hard to do. But the thing is this, is that many times in financial planning, a referral is the best referral, is the best client that we get at Acres Financial Group because someone's already experienced at Acres Financial Group and then they refer someone in. Now, you, the listener, maybe you are that person in the family that really is checking out financial information, really trying to get to know what's out there so that you can bring other people in. Financial planning is a way to getting to the right answer in your situation. So we believe that financial planning should be the lead product, not an investment, not a style, not an insurance product, not a guarantee, nothing like that. All of that happens as we implement. But the key thing is this. When you want to change and you want to know how to change an advisor, you got to start out with, well, what am I trying to do? And then you got to understand the path, the process. Now, changing a financial advisor, we do the very initial analysis of where your money is now and what needs to change and what does not need to change. Some people, when you might switch to them, they might do something called scorched earth, where they will sell everything you own and you'll get charged surrender fees and all kinds of fees to get out of what you've bought over the years, like variable annuities, fixed annuities. You'd be surprised where there's extra fees to get out of things that you bought where you might not have paid up front, but you're going to pay over the long term. You need to know what you have. Now, at Acres Financial Group, we look at what people have and we keep what people have. We are a hybrid RIA. What that means is we are stockbrokers under a broker-dealer. We're registered investment advisors for fee-based, and we do financial planning fees. A little bit of each, depending on what that client needs. We're not just in one category or the other. We can actually be broker of record, and that's where we take over an account and become that new person on the statement. All right, so this second quarter is just flown right by, Jeff. Yeah. But what's good thing about Acres Financial Group is we're local, we're independent, and we report to no big company on Wall Street. We report to you. We do have offices in Lutherville and Forest Hill, but this retirement talk is going to be all about you. Just give us a call to set up a free meeting to talk about your retirement and your exact situation. Give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and we'll set up an in-person meeting to talk with one of our team of advisors as soon as possible. Start planning for your retirement now by calling 833-946-7384 or visit our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. So you may not understand your investments. You need an advisor to guide you. We'll explain in the second half.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Our announcer friend just welcomed you back, and we want to say welcome to you. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers. Here with me today is Jeff Akers. We're both certified financial planner practitioners from Acres Financial Group. What that means is that we are financial advisors, here to advise you on retirement. When you work with us, it's not about your retirement. It's not about us. It is all about your full retirement, your full financial life, not just retirement. The show is called Winning in Retirement. Winning, in our opinion, is knowing that things are going well and that stress of what you're going to do is not there. So the show Winning in Retirement, today's show is called How to Change Your Financial Advisor, How to Change Financial Advisors, and understanding the process and why you might want to consider something like this. So this show, we're here in the second half already. And here in the second half, Jeff, the question is, so you may not understand your investments. How do we start with that answer, Jeff?
Well, we ask to see statements. We need to see what those investments are so that we can find out what you have.
You mean not just say, let them tell you and you just go with that?
Well, they might start by telling me, but I follow the old adage of trust but verify.
Absolutely.
So I like to see what's on the statement because, sometimes, they come because they don't know sometimes what it is they have. And so if they're going to explain to me what they think they have, then I might have to correct them and say, well, this is what you really have.
Right.
And we go through the ins and outs, the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons, and why we should keep it, why we should get rid of it, all those kinds of things is figuring out. We have to know what it is that you have first.
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens is this, is you may not understand what you actually own. This might be your 401k, might be your retirement plans. It might be the fact that you just signed up for something. And so what we have to do is get statements. And that might be hard for some people out there. They might not know how to access their websites. So in our offices, we set up a conference room with big screens and the internet. So we actually have you bring your information to be able to log in right there. So we can go into that account and see what's going on. Now, from that kind of just a basic how to access your retirement accounts online to the process of evaluating a portfolio or your trust. Now, imagine that our clients come in all different shapes and sizes, and we take what our advice is based on whatever their situation is. Now, as clients progress in their careers, every jump up, every time they go up executive level, there's a whole new level of benefits that they need to understand and how it applies to their life. And that's something that we do specialize at Acres Financial Group, is that C-suite concept of understanding what is being offered to you and what is the best thing for you to do when it comes to your planning. So when we talk about how to change financial advisors, many times you don't have to become the investment expert, but you do need to understand the risk involved, why you're investing in certain areas, and understand how it's working for you. Understanding that, yes, stock markets have been going up, but you don't want all of your money in the stock market. You want to have it well balanced, especially as you get closer to retirement. Now, Jeff, many times people are sort of sold things and they don't really understand what they bought, but they have it. How do you handle a situation like that?
So in those situations, we're looking at the statements and we're explaining what it is that they have, and the pros and cons of those things. As a lot of times, if you go to an investment guy and you say, here's the account that I want you to invest, well, they'll invest that account, but they don't take anything else into consideration. So you might have a 401k, and they've just duplicated what you have in your 401k. So you're not as diversified as you think. There have been folks who have come in, and I'll ask them about diversification, and they'll say, well, yeah, I've got a 401k, I've got an IRA, I have a Roth IRA, I have a regular brokerage account. And so they're viewing diversification as a lot of accounts as opposed to a diversity of investments and asset types, asset allocation, all those kinds of things. So we need to kind of work our way through that. And part of what we do is figuring out what type of investment to hold in what type of account. One of the easy examples is, why put a tax-free bond inside an IRA? Yeah. The IRA is already tax deferred, and you're going to pay tax on whatever you take out of it when you take it out. So put something in the IRA that's going to make more money than something like a tax-free bond. So another thing that comes up is the Roth 401k is a relatively new idea that's out there, and that plans or companies have added to their 401k plans. And so sometimes people don't know. I don't know if I'm putting money into the Roth part. I don't know if I'm putting money into the traditional part. I don't even know what the Roth part is. And so we'll just explain that and go through that. So there can be a lot of different pieces to explain to folks in that first and even that second meeting.
Right. So while you were talking, I was thinking about, well, there's clients that come from other advisors, and then there's clients that the only advisor they have is themselves. They're a do-it-yourselfer. And so do-it-yourself stock investing, many times people concentrate on one thing that they truly understand. And some people have been very successful with that. And what we think is that you still need a financial advisor. There's some people that do it yourself and are not successful. And of course, they need a financial advisor. A financial advisor's job is to diversify you and to make sure that everything is covered in your financial life. Your investment should not be in one sector of the market. All of your money should not be in one stock. You need to be diversified. Yes, people have made money and they've lost a lot of money by investing in one stock. What happens is this: if you're new to investing and you've been doing extremely well the last couple of years, what you got to do is take a little stop and think about, well, what can I do to make my financial life better for the rest of my life? Not just this moment while that stock is up. Because what happens if that stock drops 50%? Does that change all of your financial outlook to your life? Which I think it would if you're over-concentrated in one stock. So when it comes down to how to change advisors, sometimes you're adding an advisor to your advice. It's almost like having a doctor when you're sort of going to the internet for your medical advice. You can handle the basic things, but then it comes down to it. You need some help. One of the things about retirement is this: is it something we really want to do on our own? Is it something that should be done on their own without someone who's helped people retire before, so that you got everything checked and everything done right? Because you only want to do it one time, right, Jeff?
And some things you don't have a choice. You can only do it one time. So we want to make sure that we do it right that first time. And so that's what we do. Look at that whole situation, figure out what's the best course of action to take, and then help you go down that path. Another kind of investment that sometimes people don't understand, they'll come in and they'll say, well, I've got this brokerage account, and we'll take a look at the statement, and lo and behold, they've got an annuity inside the brokerage account. So we'll have to explain, well, this is really an annuity. Do you have a statement for that annuity? Because we need to understand the ins and outs of how that might work. Does it have an income rider or a special death benefit rider? Any of those kinds of things that are going to make a difference in our advice. And so we need to figure those things out. But a lot of times the folks coming in, they just don't think that. That's just part of my brokerage account. And that's the end of it. That's as far as they think about it, really.
Yeah, I remember stories when you start talking about this. It's like clients will have a variable annuity with income riders on it, and then they're semi-retired, and then they come in and meet us for the first time, and it's like, so you're using this income rider? No, I just take withdrawals. It's like, well, you've been paying this fee for 15 years to have a guaranteed payment that'll last a lifetime, even if the investment disappears. And that's the reason you bought the variable annuity. Why not understand the product better to make it work for you? Now, this happens in all kinds of things that happen. So imagine that you've collected investments throughout your life. Investments, insurance policies, life insurance, annuities, all kinds of things at the bank, and you're wondering what to do. The things at the bank, my brain just started triggering about CDs and the interest rates renewing at like 0 or -0. Not quite yet. But the thing is this, is you need to review where everything is and see what you can do better. Another example might be you bought a double-E bond 32 years ago. Did you know that it no longer pays interest? Do you know that newer bonds pay less than 1%? How is all your money working together? Financial planning does that. So how to change a financial advisor? Well, what you got to do is understand why. You got to understand what financial advice brings. Financial advice is something that I think every one of us needs to do to understand why we are investing, where we're going to invest, and how we're going to draw our money later in life so we can have the best and most efficient way of doing it all. Because we don't want to pay too much in tax, we want to pay the right amount. We want to have the investments that will last a lifetime.
And we don't want to pay penalties. Brian mentioned earlier, sometimes advisors will do a scorched earth policy where they'll just have you sell everything that you had before. We don't do that because like with an annuity, it might be a variable annuity or fixed annuity, whatever it is, there might be a surrender charge on there. And we don't want to pay the surrender charge. So we'll take a look at what can we do with this? What is the best thing to do with it? How long do we have to wait? Maybe it is going to be the right thing to sell it, just not yet. So we want to become the broker of record on that, be able to get information from the company, be able to understand all the ins and outs and the ways that we can use that particular investment. So even if you don't understand or become the investment expert on everything, just knowing some of the basics can help you make better decisions with us guiding you through that process.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about one of the radio listeners that came in to talk about their financial situation. Of course, they're doing very good in their career and working very, very hard, but they just don't have enough time to sit back and look at their investments and know what's going on. They want to know that they're okay. And so we meet every 6 months and just look at everything to make sure they're on the right path. And then we allocate and make changes based on what the market's doing. We also make sure they're saving everywhere they possibly can, because we do want a maximum fund retirement savings so people can retire early or at least on time, depending on what's going on. Also to know that they're working not just for the money, but working for that future, making sure everything's set up for that long term. Because sometimes in life just goes fast and you need to do your job and your family, and you might have 20 years where you haven't thought about your finances. Of course, that's not good, obviously, but that's something that we need to have time each year to make sure we're doing the right thing to make sure you have your financial plan working for you.
Right. So we want to help you with that plan, help you understand what you need to do right now, and help you down that path. So that's why we're here.
Right. Because when you retire, the best part of retirement is going to be about getting your own time back, where you decide how to use it. Before retirement, your time's all tied up with jobs and being consumed by things that have to be done by a certain due date. To begin winning in retirement, of course, we say, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and Susan will call you back on Monday or schedule a phone, virtual Zoom, or in-person meeting when we can on Monday. Give us that call at 833-946-7384 or go to our website, acresfinancialgroup.com, and check us out there. You can even submit through the website right there. What should you do right now to make sure you have a solid plan for retirement? We will explain in the fourth quarter.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Here's the fourth quarter. I'm Brian Akers, president and founder of Akers Financial Group. Here with me today is Jeff Akers. You been doing all right, Jeff?
I'm doing great.
Cool. You ready to go fourth quarter?
Yep. I had my cup of coffee. I'm fired up, ready to go. We got a lot of important stuff to cover.
All right. We're going to finish strong here in the fourth quarter. We're both certified financial planner practitioners, and we work for Akers Financial Group. Where our base is here in Maryland, but we have clients throughout America. People talk to us in many different ways. Of course, with the virtual Zoom concept, we can meet clients anywhere. And of course, we've been doing that. Then Maryland's a great state, our home state, and we love our Maryland. Our Akers Financial Group, we have a website, acresfinancialgroup.com. That website has a tab called Radio. And if you hit that radio tab, you can actually see all of our past shows, including this show. That'll be there by middle of next week. And what you can actually do is go on that tab and listen to this show again to find out information, hear what you heard again, to make sure you're ready to go. Acres Financial Group has also put up webinars on there where you can find out some of the topics and listen to our advice right there on our website. So in case you missed any part of the show, you can always catch up by going to our website at acresfinancialgroup.com. Now back to our talk show today. Our show today is this: how to change financial advisors. And what we're going to do is finish up this last question. What you should do right now to make sure you have a solid plan for your retirement. What do you think about that, Jeff?
First step is to give us a call and set up a time to come meet with us, because that initial meeting is free. It's not going to cost you anything. We're not going to make you sign anything before you leave. There's nothing like that. There's no pressure. That first meeting is an opportunity for us to get to know you, get to know what you have, get to know or figure out if we're a good fit, if you can work with us and we can work with you. And so that's the point of that first meeting. After we go through that first meeting, we gather some information, and then we'll start putting together some ideas for you, and we'll get together for a second meeting, and we'll write out those ideas for that second meeting, and you'll have them to take with you. And then we can start working through the process of planning. And so the first step in that information gathering process, we call the financial fingerprint. And with the financial fingerprint, we are getting information about your assets, your liabilities. Do you have a mortgage? Do you not have a mortgage? What about your income? Maybe you're working now. Maybe you've already retired. We're just gathering all that information and trying to get a financial picture of where you are. It's kind of like a financial checkup. We call it a financial fingerprint because it's unique. Your financial fingerprint is not the same as your neighbor's. It's not the same as your brother or sister or coworker. It's unique to you. And so we need to figure out what that is. And that's the starting point then for figuring out a plan that's going to work for you, because your plan is going to be unique as well.
It begins by a phone call and giving us the call at the office, or you can go through our website. On the website, we also have a document tab. That document tab has the information we need for that first meeting, and also a little package to fill out as you get started. Acres Financial Group begins with you talking about what's going on in your life. Many of the newest clients we have are all considering retirement. They're thinking about, should I retire now? Should I retire next year? When is the best date? What do I need to do to make retirement work for me? Now, they have had advisors, they've had people working with them, but they want to have a coach that helps them in this exact situation. So if you think about sports and you think about, I want to get better at one thing, what do you bring in as a coach that knows that thing extremely well? And retirement has been our thing for a long time, right, Jeff?
It has been our thing for a long time because it's important to people, and it's a significant transition. I was talking to someone the other day who, they've worked for a long time, and now they've recently retired. And they're like, this is really hard. Retirement is so different than what I'm used to. And it's because we get into the habit. We're working, we're saving. Brian mentioned earlier that you kind of have your head down and there's a lot of other commitments you've got to take care of, and you just don't think about your finances for a while. And then you get to retirement and it's not putting money away anymore. It's using that money to live on. And that's a transition, a significant transition, and you want to get it right. And that's why we're here, to help you get it right and make sure that once you get retired, you can stay retired and you can win in your retirement. So I'm curious, in that first meeting, how do you go through gathering that information?
I guess my first thing is just talking about what's going on in their life. And then I try to get their name spelled right, because that's just a real big thing to me. It's just making sure I get the very basics. I'd like to find out where their age is, because the age dictates a lot of the advice and the timing of advice, like Social Security and RMD for required minimum distributions out of qualified plans. So knowing ages are very important to start. And then we talk. I usually start wherever they are, like whatever their topic is, and just begin there. And it's sort of a circular meeting in that we cover some basic things, and then we keep coming back to what their goals are. So the goals really is like, what are they trying to accomplish, and what are they trying to do, and what are their retirement dates in their mind, and when do they think they're going to draw income, and then like, do they have a budget or not? I mean, they hate talking about that, but this understanding what they need. So I start basically with where they are and then grow from there. And then we just build out. Now, sometimes they're upset with certain things going on in their life, and that's we got to deal with that first and try to help them in that exact situation.
Right. You've got to help with the existing need or the perceived need that someone has. So when you come in and you've got something burning on your mind, well, that's the thing we're going to focus on first. And in order to get to the answer for that, we might have to ask other questions to get there, but we're going to come back to that burning need and make sure that we get that taken care of for you. So that might be, I'm ready to retire, I'm done. It might be something else going on in your life that you just want to make a change, that one of those transitions that we go through. So that first meeting, we gather the information, we put together some ideas. Then we get to that part where we're starting to implement things. And the first step in that implementation is going to be transferring accounts or becoming a broker of record, the things that we've been talking about this show. We want that to be as painless as possible for you. And when we say painless, we mean in regards to how much paper you have to do, but we also mean in regards to any fees that are going to be charged to you, because there are certain things like brokerage accounts, they're going to charge a fee when you transfer away from them. But there are other things like annuities where you don't have to pay the fee if you don't want to by not getting out of it completely, not doing that scorched earth process. So that first step in implementing, once we have some ideas on what to do, is to start moving things to put them in the right place to accomplish your goals. So what do you think about getting those things transferred to the right place?
Yeah, I guess the hardest part is asking clients for information, like statements, a full statement, not just a website printout. And so I think about that kind of thing where I say I really need the actual full statement. So many times after that first meeting, what will happen is I'll say, if you bring all this information together, then we'll get started and we'll write it all out for the second meeting so we can talk. And then we'll start implementing third and fourth meeting. So it's sort of a step by step. We need to have the plan put together so that we know what that next thought is, that next thing you need to do. Now, if there's a deadline, of course, we'll address that right away. But when I was thinking about what would I do on certain transfers, a lot of times I transfer in kind. In kind means what you already have, we bring it over, and then we pick when to sell. When the information transfers over, it transfers over cost bases, other information that's very important when you decide when to sell and how to sell. In a taxable account, you don't just want to sell a portfolio to make changes. You want to look at it and say, there's a capital gain or is there not a capital gain? If there's a loss, what to do to make sure you're doing proper tax planning along with investment reallocation based on what that client needs. So bringing it all together is very important. What we try to do is we will help you with each decision you need to make. We're going to try to make it simple because we've done all the work to make it simple. That means we've read the information. You bring in the thick books. You bring the information to us. We put it back to you in a simple way so you can make a decision.
Yeah, one of the things you mentioned was asking people for statements, and that can be hard to get, not just the internet printout. Another thing that we'll ask for is a tax return. And a tax return is important for a lot of different reasons. One of them, Brian kind of mentioned, because in a regular taxable brokerage account, there might be capital gains. But then we look at the tax return and you might have a carry forward loss. And so we're not worried about the capital gains because there's a loss to offset them that we can use. So all of this information comes together, and the more we know, the better able we are to assist you in accomplishing your goals. And that's what we want to do. We're going to help you with every decision that you need to make, and we're going to make it as simple as possible for you to reach your goals and to win in retirement.
Right. So how to change financial advisors, it begins with an initial meeting with a new financial advisor. You give us a call at Acres Financial Group. We sit down and talk in a free time where it's about you and your situation. Bring information with you if you can. You don't have to. We can just have a talk. And then we gather information after the first meeting and we sort of begin our process. It could be fee-based financial planning. It could be where we invest the portfolio. It could be something where we might earn a commission on it. So it is a combination depending on what's going on in your life. We are fiduciaries as certified financial planners, and RIAs. We are fiduciaries where we serve their client first, and then we try to implement what's best for them in all situations. That process takes time. It's not done in one quick meeting, usually 3 to 5 meetings. So there's an onboarding process as we get to know each other and get everything up and running. And then there's a process of constant review after you have become a client at Acres Financial Group, which is different than many other firms, is where you constantly review what you have, where you have it. And we do that through a process of having your own website that we put together, where we try to track information all in one place. And then we have you have access to that anytime you like.
Yeah, Brian mentioned fiduciary, and that means that my only job is to give you the best available advice. And so all the investments, everything else, they just flow out of that. But my job is to give you the best advice that I can.
Absolutely. So Acres Financial Group, we have a website, acresfinancialgroup.com. You go there, you can check out information all about our company. You hit the About Us tab, check out all our advisors, check out all our affiliations, everything that's going on. So you can understand about us. That's what everyone seems to do, is they listen to the radio show, go to the website. You can actually contact us through the website if you like. Today's show was how to change financial advisors. We've talked about a lot of different topics, talked about the reasons for changing, the process of changing, and basically a little bit about the cost, but not a lot about the cost, but that's more of an individual basis based on wherever you are. Changing financial advisors could be one of the best decisions you make by improving the coach that you have when it comes to your own financial planning. We want you to win in retirement. So take advantage of this opportunity to begin planning with us at Acres Financial Group. To schedule your free meeting, give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. When you call, leave us a voice message, and we'll give you a call back on Monday to schedule a phone meeting, virtual Zoom, or in-person meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. That's 833-946-7384, or visit acresfinancialgroup.com. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to be winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated and investment advisory services through Kalos Management Incorporated. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Advice given on winning in retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment.